my name is Ryan Ashker. Welcome to the Sports News on CW57, brought to you in part by the Red Zone. Here are this week's headlines. In Big 8 baseball action, Sun Prairie gave Janesville Craig their first loss of the season with a 6-2 victory for the Cardinals. Craig now sits at 19-1 with the loss, but is still ranked number 1 in Division I by the Wisconsin Baseball Coaches Association. In the first inning, Mike Berkey singled in 2 runs for the Cardinals, only to have Craig tied up in the top of the second. Sun Prairie went on to score 1 more run in the third and 3 in the bottom of the sixth. Craig, who is 14-1 in the Big 8, has clinched a tie for its first conference baseball championship since 2001. Wisconsin Athletic Director Barry Alverz said it's time to abolish the 20-hour rule, which is designated to limit how much time students spend on athletics instead of academics per week. Alverz acknowledged athletes need time off, but thinks the wording of the rule makes it impossible to enforce for the NCAA. Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney agrees with Alverz, calling the rule a misnomer. The 20-hour rule currently covers required activities such as practice, weight training, conditioning, meetings, video sessions, and setting up equipment, but traveling and time spent in the trainer's room on voluntary workouts do not count. Brett Farve will once again take the field in Wisconsin, this time for a Legends flag football game which will be played at Camp Randall on July 19th. That is the day after Farve is to be inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame. The game will feature several notable former NFL players. Farve's team will consist of former Packers teammates including Javon Walker, Andre Rison, Frankie Winters, and Mark Chimera. They will battle against an all-star squad led by Donovan McNabb and former Badgers running back Ron Dane. Tickets for the game will range in price from $34 up to $55. The University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire's Amanda Fisher has been selected the 2015 National Fast Pitch Coaches Association NCAA Division III All-American First Team. Fisher was a third-team selection in 2013 and 2014 and is the first 3-time NFCA All-American in WIAC history. She joins Jill Shockey, 1999, as the only first-team selection in the program's history. This is the first time a WIAC has landed an individual on the first team since 2012, when UW River Falls' Haley Buckman received the honors. 6 WIAC athletes have been selected to the 2015 D3Baseball.com All-America team. UW-Stevens Point Cody Hankey was a first-team selection, while UW La Crosse's Taylor Colwey received second-team, and UW-Whitewater's McCole Pierce garnered third-team recognition as well. UW La Crosse's Justin Anderson and James Sadowski, along with UW-Stevens Point Mitch Bowe, were honorable mention picks. Hankey is the program's second straight first-team selection after Kyle McHugh was recognized last season. Colway claimed first-team accolades last year and becomes the program's first 2-time All-American. The 3 selections by UW La Crosse are the most for a WIC program since 2011. Madison College will be returning to the NJCAA World Series for the 6th straight year. Madison College is currently ranked 4th in the nation in Division II due to their 42-10 record. The Wolfpack's 6th straight World Series appearance breaks the NJCAA record for most consecutive appearances by a program. Madison College has finished 3rd in the Nationals the last 2 seasons. Leading the team will be second-year players Tony Butler and Sam Hurt, who were both named to the NJCAA Division II North Central Division IV Rawlings Gold Glove team. Those are this week's headlines. We'll be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Welcome back to the Sports News. Right now, I am joined by my friends from Ford's Gym. It's James McIntyre and Marcus Johnson. Thanks for joining us here today.
Oh, yeah.
James, what's going on down at Ford's Gym? I heard a lot of happenings. How about you inform some of our viewers what's going on?
Biggest thing we got going on is Saturday, July 11th, 7 p.m. at the Monona Terrace. We got the Boss Hall boxing event in Stoughton Boss Hall, Marcus Parker, and that's the main event. And then we're also going to have plenty of people on the undercard, including this guy right here, Marcus Johnson, one of my good friends and a very skilled fighter.
And what date was that? I just want to remind everyone.
That's July 11th, Saturday, Monona Terrace, 7 p.m.
All right, I'm going to be getting some tickets from you for that. I want to come out. That sounds good.
I'm going to mark you on that.
Sounds good. Now, Marcus, you came along with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about your history with boxing?
I've been boxing about 4 or 5 years. I started learning when I was 17. I'm 24 now. At first, I was kind of just dabbling around, and then the more fun I had, the more experience I got, I realized it was really for me.
Okay. And we were talking a little bit off the air, and you're a really nice guy, nice young man. Do people ever tell you you're too nice to box, or boxing's a rough sport, why don't you do something else?
Man, all the time, you know, and I think a lot of people have just seen too many movies, you know, so when a lot of people think of fighting, they just see a guy smashing another guy's face for like 20 minutes over and over and over, and that's not realistic at all. It takes a lot of skill, you know, same as much skill as it takes to play basketball or baseball or football or any of that.
And how has boxing affected your life? What have you taken away from the sport?
It's affected me very positively, man. At first, I was always just kind of, you know, I've always liked fighting, especially in high school. It was bad because I always wanted to, like, that's how I solved my problems. Then I started going to the gym, and I just had an outlet. I had a place to put everything that, anytime I had a problem, I had a place to put it. You know, I had a place to get out all my stress, and like, everyone at the gym became my family as well, too. Like, I can talk to those guys pretty much about anything, and I just don't have any problems really at all.
And you mentioned that outlet that you're able to use boxing for. With that, when you're going to the gym, how much work goes into boxing? Or now that you're getting ready for a fight, what's kind of your routine to get ready?
Man, tons and tons of work goes into it, man. Depending on who you are, too, what type of guy you are, your work ethic, you know, you could do anything from running every day, hitting the bag every day, in the gym, sparring. Maybe not every day, but like once or twice a week. Just lots of different drills, lots of different weightlifting, and a lot of this stuff goes on pretty much every day, especially if you want to be real serious or take it to the next level. You might, if you're lucky, you might get 1 or 2 days out of the week where you get to rest, and even on those days, you're probably still going for a jog or something.
Understandable. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us here today on the Sports News.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate you for having me.
Marcus, good luck on your upcoming fight. James, as always, thanks for stopping in. Those are my friends from Ford's Gym. Check them out. Fight coming up in just a few weeks. We'll be right back with the Sports News right after this little break. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now I'm joined by Patrick Rohde, Tom Sweet, and Adam Wettig of the Madison Wolves. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
So we are in the season for the Madison Wolves and a lot of stuff going on. Adam, what did the team do in the offseason? You guys made some changes. What is different from last year to make you guys a championship contender going forward?
Well, we picked up some new coaches, and we picked up a lot of new players that filled spots that we really needed work on, I felt, after last season. And so those guys are all filling in to, produce a great team.
So moving on with that. One of those new players you added was Patrick Rohde, former teammate of mine with the Madison Mustangs. Patrick, you played football at every level. You played semi-pro for quite a while. What made you choose the Wolves this year as your new team?
Well, there's a lot of former teammates with the Mustangs when I play with them that have joined. That certainly helps. The other levels of competition that we have as well with the GFL and the MSFL, which is where the Mustangs played. A lot of strength and competition there. You get to play against other guys that played at all the different levels as well. So just to get back into that competitive field, it was an easy choice for me.
And also another one of the changes you guys made this past offseason was going from a 9-man team to an 11-man team. Tom, how's that transition gone for you?
It's been interesting. 9-man team is very fast-paced, very open field, lots of scoring. And obviously 11-man is what we all grew up playing from the beginning. So it's a lot of fun and it's nice and it's going to get our name out there, I think, a lot more as far as being an 11-man team.
And you guys mentioned that you've recently joined the GFL. They formed an association with the MSFL, the Mid-States Football League. How does that affect not only your guys' league in the GFL, but the team as a whole?
Well, the MSFL has been around a lot longer than the GFL has, and they've been an 11-man league the entire time. So we're joining up with them and hopefully becoming 2 competitive leagues that have crossover games and compete together.
So always looking at the big picture with that. As you guys go forward, are there any rivalries, any games that when it came out you guys had circled on your schedule right away?
Mine is the Chicago Chaos, just because they've been the team to beat in our league for so long that it'd be great to go out and get a win against those guys.
Fantastic. And you guys are already in the season, so that gets going. Where can our viewers learn some more about the team and hopefully come out and catch a Madison Wolves football game?
You can check us out on the website, madisonwolves.webs.com, and then also on our Facebook page, Madison Wolves.
Okay. Well, good luck with your season, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ryan.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to Sports News. Right now I am joined by Michael DuPont of I9 Sports, the owner and program director. Michael, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
So I9 Sports, what is it exactly? Give me a little bit of insight.
So we help kids succeed in life through sports. We are the first and fastest growing youth league franchise in the country. We have over 150 locations throughout the United States with over 1 million children playing in our fields every Saturday morning.
And what was one of the reasons you chose to bring I9 Sports to Madison of all places?
Well, I9 Sports is big in the Midwest. We have a lot of locations around Illinois and Michigan, Ohio and Indiana. My wife is from Waunakee, was born and raised, and we wanted to bring I9 to Madison. It seemed like a natural choice to expand in the Midwest. And really, you know, our focus and passion is sports and kids, and being able to help them succeed in life through sports.
Fantastic. Now, looking to make I9 grow and expand, you guys do some things that are a little bit different. How are your leagues different than other leagues in the area?
Sure. Well, we're a one-day-a-week league with practices right before the game, or typically on Saturday mornings. So for the parent, we're really convenient. We're about an hour to an hour and a half for them, and then they're on with their day, whether they're going to go see the Badgers play or, you know, whatever they have to do with their busy schedule. For the children, we're fun. Okay, we don't have tryouts or drafts. We let every child play, as well as every position. So we really focus on that, and as well, you know, we want the kids to be competitive. We keep score, and they're going to be competitive, but what we don't want are the parents to be competitive in our leagues or negative. And we ask them to sign a pledge that there won't be any negative actions on the field. And, you know, again, it's all about the kids having fun.
So making sure those athletes are not only better prepared with sports, but also coming out better people at the end too.
Absolutely.
Teaching those life skills in youth athletics, something we really appreciate. Now, you mentioned you have one-day leagues and one-day teams. What sports do you guys offer? What's available?
Yeah, our core sports are flag football, soccer, t-ball, and basketball for children ages 3 to 14 years of age.
Okay. And how can people learn more about these leagues or sign up?
Sure. Well, they can always go to our website at i9sports.com. That's the letter I, the number 9, sports.com. Or we're on Facebook and Twitter. As well as we're going to be at many events this summer all along the Metro Madison area. We're going to be at the Cows on the Concourse. We're going to be at Ride the Drive, Dane County Fair, WannaFest, as well as one of our partners, Mattel's Toy Store in Middleton. We're going to be on June 30th. An in-person store event there. So parents can come down with their kids, learn more about our leagues, as well as we have a great prize wheel that the kids get to spin and win a prize and have fun. And you know, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You know, we want people to come to our leagues, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Sounds fantastic. Michael, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks Ryan, thanks for having me.
Michael DuPont of I9 Sports. Give him a look, give him a call, get your kids involved. We'll be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we are joined by girls track and field coach out of Stoughton, Eric Benedict. Eric, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your history, how you got into coaching and how you ended up at Stoughton.
Well, I ran high school track and field. I also participated in track and field in college at Lawrence University. I'm also a high school teacher. I really enjoy not just teaching during the day, but to also help kids after school, get to know them outside of school. And track and field to me is a fantastic sport to do that with.
And you mentioned you're also teaching and being able to work with those kids on several different levels. What is the balance? How do you function being both a coach and a teacher to these athletes?
That's a great question. You know, I have a support from a lot of people. My wife is fantastic. She helps host team dinners at my house for 120 athletes sometimes. We do a lot of, neat things as a team. My assistant coaches have been very supportive. They work hard, come in extra time, and do some great things, as well as, the athletes themselves they know that I'm a teacher. They know that that's something I really enjoy doing. Now, my colleagues, teaching have really helped me out. They know I'm really super busy during the track season, and they are very supportive of me doing what I do.
And being busy has been a good thing for you because the Stoughton program has been very successful the last couple of years. Can you explain some of the success or maybe tricks that you guys have to have such a competitive team year in and year out?
Well, we try to get as many good athletes out for track and field as much as possible. Trying to get students that maybe haven't participated in track and field, but maybe are a good basketball player or a good volleyball player that can jump. And really, we've had some really good success with in our field, getting like long jumpers, triple jumpers, pole vaulters, high jumpers, having them try good athletes trying new things with that. Our numbers have grown as well. When I took over, about 40 athletes. We're now at about, last year we had about 80 athletes. This year we're down to about 65, 70 athletes. But a big jump in participation numbers. More athletes generally means less, they don't have to do as many events, and they can specialize in more events.
And you mentioned going to other sports programs, trying to find some athletes or those multi-sport athletes that everyone loves to talk about. As you're going in and talking to these kids, how do you get those athletes amped up? How do you get your team amped up going into a meet or a season?
Well, I try to talk, I bring my passion of track and field. I'm a big fan of track and field. I've been to a couple national, like USA Track and Field National Championships, and I try to bring that passion to a daily basis to our meets and to our practices, as well as showing them that, in past, a lot of these good athletes that you see on TV were track athletes as well. We're long jumpers, we're triple jumpers, we're shot putters, we're discus throwers. They weren't just a basketball player in high school. They did different things, and I really try to stress that as much as possible with them.
Understandable. Eric, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Eric Benedict, the head girls track and field coach at Stoughton High School. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to Sports News. Right now I am joined by BJ Bachop, the head coach for football at Broadhead Judah. BJ, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You guys have had a very successful program over the years. Can you share with our viewers what you guys have accomplished and maybe some of the keys to keeping that program so strong over such a long period of time?
Right now we're at 24 straight years of consecutive playoff appearances, which is the second longest current streak in the state. We're right behind Menominee at 25, and I know Lancaster's right up there, could be tied with us or whatever. So we've had a lot of success over the years. We've had a couple of state runner-up appearances in 2003 and in 2011. So yeah, we've had a lot of success, consistent success. We've had a lot of the same coaches on board the last 24 years, so it's been going really well.
And you mentioned a lot of the same coaches on board. What have been some of the keys to you guys to be able to keep that successful coaching staff together? How much turnover do you have with Broadhead Judah program?
Recently we've had a little bit, but we haven't had much over that long span. When Coach Gary Larson kind of started this off in the late 70s and early 80s, the staff was pretty much the same for almost 20 years, and then Coach Jim Matthias took over after him, and he stayed on board Coach Larson stayed on board with Coach Matthias' staff to help him out and keep the tradition going. And I've been lucky enough to have the same thing with having Coach Matthias stay on my staff. So that's, we get to keep that continuity together, and it's helped the kids in the program out tremendously.
For sure, it'd make it a lot easier on the kids and the program as a whole. Being a smaller program, which Broadhead Judah is, What are your thoughts on the multi-sport athletes? I'm imagining most of your players got to be playing a couple different sports during the spring and winter as well.
Yeah, we're really lucky. I don't think there's any football players that only play football. They're either 2 or 3 sport athletes, and we're really lucky in our community that all the coaches all work together. There's no one coach that says, I really wish you were doing this year round or that. And a lot of our coaches are also an assistant or head of another sport as well, whether it even be at the middle school level or high school. So it's nice to know that you can use that as a recruiting tool for your own sport, if you're coaching football or whatever. But everyone wants you doing something. They want you to be always working hard and at least competing more than anything, if it's not in the weight room and staying active.
Always staying active. That helps out all the sports that those athletes compete in as well. BJ, thank you so much for joining us here on the Sports News today.
All right, thanks a lot for having me.
BJ Bachhoff, head football coach at Broadhead Judah. We'll be right back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now I'm joined by Paul Kuyak and Stephen Considine of Baraboo Baseball. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us out here today.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Give our viewers a little background about you guys, your playing careers, your coaching careers, where you guys came from.
Well, this is my 35th year actually in teaching, and I've been coaching baseball now for about 32 years, 20 years as a head coach at Baraboo, and went to school at Winona State University in Winona, Minnesota.
I grew up in Portage, so I was a rival of Baraboo, and played baseball collegiately at Stevens Point, and then spent the last 3 years at Randolph coaching baseball there, and this is my first year in Baraboo.
Your alumni had a very good team this year too up in Stevens Point, I saw. What were some of the expectations coming into this baseball season? And I know from talking previously to going on air, you guys have had a very impressive turnaround this year. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we've scuffled the last 4 years. In fact, last year we had a 4-19 season, and this year we've been able to turn it around, and we've exceeded our expectations so far, and we're at 17-4 thus far early in this season. And I think a lot of it has to do with the addition of Coach Considine here, who we brought on, that I thought would really bring in a lot of college type of atmosphere and so forth, and coming from a quality program like UW Stevens Point, he's been able to bring that and add that to our team. But I'm sure, as Coach Considine would agree, it comes down to the players.
Yeah. And with that, those players, who are some maybe the key players, key components you have this year that allowed you to have what's going on right now, a very impressive season?
We're led by our 3-4-5 hitters, which are seniors. Griffin Nixick's a catcher, returning second-team All-Conference. Our 4 hitters, Matt Munike, a third baseman, returning second-team All-Conference, and then TJ Wagner, who's probably having quietly one of the best seasons in the area. And those 3 guys, plus another group of seniors, are really, we got a strong foundation there.
What are some of the expectations for the team led by those 3 individuals you mentioned? Now that the team started off so well, where do you guys envision yourself going through the rest of the year?
That's a great question, and again, I think what's happened is we've gone from the guys thinking, man, this winning is really a fun thing to be able to finally do, and now instead of wanting to win, they expect to win, and that's how they're playing down the stretch right now. And quite frankly, at this time of the season, wrapping up the conference play and going into tournaments, that's exactly where you want to be. And it's really a collaborative team effort from this group of kids, and that's what's so good. Steve mentioned the big 3 in the order, but of the 17 guys we have on varsity right now, each one of them has a specific role, and they've embraced that, and that's really boded well for us so far.
Fantastic. Well, good luck the rest of the season. Paul, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks again for having us.
That is Paul Kuyak and Stephen Considine of Baraboo Baseball. We'll be right back with more of the sports news after this.